my name is Max Stein, and I love video games.
I'm the Megabuck. I really love video games.
My name is Raph, and I also love video games.
Hey, boys and girls, Vinny here, and I love video games.
And welcome to the Bayou, where we talk about treasure video games from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Today, that's my best Sam. What's his name? The cowboy actor guy.
Oh my god!
I can't remember his name.
Wait,
Anyhow,
Yosemite Sam, the cartoon?
That's what I was talking about.
Yes,
No,
absolutely.
today we are doing kind of like a mini genre exploration. I say mini because this genre is kind of new. Relative, let's see. It's less than 10 years old, I think.
I think it's like a hybrid of like
It
a lot of older
is.
like the battle royale genre.
Yep,
and like,
I was gonna say that. We're talking about
Yeah.
extraction shooters.
Yeah,
You've
we'll
probably
get-
heard of Escape from Tarkov at the very least. I'd say it's one of the OG and most popular ones, one of the most successful ones, I'd say. It's been in alpha forever. But yeah, we're gonna be specifically deep diving into Hunt Showdown, 1896 in parentheses.
It's like
The-
season 2.
The Civil War horror fantasy first person shooter extraction awesome game.
I don't even know how to
Um,
describe it. Honestly,
Yeah,
Right?
me
It's
neither.
like when
All
you
I know
guys
is-
asked us to
yeah.
describe
We've
it, we were
tried.
like,
We've tried.
Yeah.
It's like a dark monster fantasy team hunting shooter
yeah.
all I
or
know is I
There you go.
can't stop playing
with
it.
guns.
Obsessed
Yeah.
with
Let's go.
Woo! Venacor's packing heat.
But first, before we get into that, we do have a pretty
It's gonna be a
I
good
don't
short.
think it's a pretty big story from the video game news world. Concord, the PlayStation,
Oh boy,
PlayStation
you're leading off with
Concord.
Concord.
Yeah.
Oh,
published
oh,
by
talk
PlayStation,
about
developed by Firewalk, released
zoinks.
a couple of weeks ago, and it is now closing 2 weeks after its release.
Offline.
The game
It
is going offline.
as
It's an
of
online
yesterday.
hero shooter. No, it's not. It's like that South Park episode where he tries to put his money into an investment account and then it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just put it in there. Yeah, no, it's just gone. Man,
It's gone. Next.
if you haven't seen commercials for it, you won't anymore because it's not a game anymore. But it was a hero shooter that was like a PlayStation's like let's make an Overwatch, right? And then the only thing I can say about the character design was uninspired.
It looked a little bland. Yeah.
It
For
looked,
sure.
if
yeah.
not bland, just generic.
Yeah. Right.
It's not like it was things where it was like obvious rips of things, but then like everything there's just like a lot of people that are just like in very rounded Pixar looking armor. I don't know. The whole thing was just kind of like the color palette was very pastels and the design reminded me of pastels, just sort of like washed out and not not strong designs like Overwatch.
like
you know what I
Easter
mean? You got
eggs.
Winston, the
Yeah.
gorilla that has a ray gun that shoots electricity and shit. You know what I mean? Like,
People don't want another live service hero shooter,
I
and
would
they
agree,
tried
yeah.
to tell them. They tried to get through to these devs for years, especially the 6 months leading up to release, and no one listened. In fact,
Yeah.
some of the devs there was some very vicious mudslinging on Twitter over this. And it's pretty bad, and those tweets aged very poorly. The people saying, "Oh, you 40,000 people disliking blah blah blah, and you perpetual online people, your opinions literally don't matter." Well,
Yikes.
yeah,
you're the
Turns
biggest.
out
You're
they're
now
your
the biggest.
consumers.
You're now the biggest write-off in the history of video games. Congratulations.
I googled Firewalk Studios, the people that developed this game, and it's two guys that used to work at Bungie.
Oh.
So it's Destiny guys. So I bet Sony was like,
before
Destiny,
that,
that,
Halo
makes a
guys.
lot of fucking money. And they were
Yeah.
like, I bet we can make these guys make money for us. And then they just were like, I don't know. It's just space aliens. And they're like, no, make them.
8 years in development.
For real.
$100+ million budget. 700 copies sold. Everyone hates it.
So
And it's going to be one of the episodes in the upcoming Amazon show about video games.
that's wild.
That's
yeah,
big.
yeah,
That's a big oof right
Which
there.
they
Oh my
said they're
God.
keeping it in there for posterity's sake. I tell you where my brain immediately went. You guys know me. My brain immediately went to Have they stopped selling it? And are physical copies of this game now going to become rare? I know that
Oh,
sounds
shit,
really
yeah.
silly.
Interesting.
I know I've seen pictures online, people showing their PlayStation 5 copy or whatever. Honestly, I didn't even know about this game until it failed. Like
Right.
that's, I mean, how bad the
Yeah,
marketing
their
around
marketing
it
was pretty lackluster.
Right, yeah, and I heard that sentiment echoed by so many people online too. Like I had never even heard of this game until this shit like just was told.
And now you never will.
You
Yeah.
seen the video of the lady going to the game store to be like, "I'm in this game." You know what I'm talking about?
No,
voice
Like
actor.
she's like, "Oh, where's the game?" And the guy's like, "Oh," he goes in the back, pulls it out, like, "Here it is." And she's like crying, and he's like, "Oh, what? Do you really like this game?" And she's like, "I'm in this game." And he's like, "Wow, that's amazing." Oh fuck! They just
oh man,
I need a new agent.
Wow.
It's a shame. It's a shame that
is,
the
yeah.
culture war caused this
Yeah.
game to fail. I mean, on top of it being in an oversaturated like hero shooter market, and it's competing right now against Marvel rivals. People are way more excited about the Marvel hero shooter than they ever were about Concord. You
Sure.
did not see anybody except people who were actually affiliated with Concord or the devs or whatever actually saying anything positive about this game. Nobody cared
Mhm.
yeah.
ever at
Yeah.
any point in the process, eh,
The
with
whole
very few exceptions.
yeah, it felt like a shovelware AAA game. Like that's the best way I can explain.
That's a
It's
good
like
way
the
of
damn.
putting it,
It's like the damn
yeah.
pirate games. What's that other one? Skull and Bones or whatever.
Skull
it
and
is.
Bones.
Yeah.
It just
Oh,
feels like a
man,
big,
that's
a
right.
It's the
big
first
budget
AAA
asset
game,
flip.
quadruple A game, and it's
Quadruple A
like,
game.
that's not
Let me
how
tell you something.
this works at all.
Ubisoft, okay? So
That's not how this
Ubisoft
works at all.
Ubisoft has that whole creator program, right? And I
Yeah.
have a friend on Twitch, a fellow streamer. She's a Ubisoft creator. She's in the program. Standard practice for them to give out keys because they want streamers to hype it up and give
Of
keys
course,
away,
right.
contests,
Yeah.
etc. Great. She messages me, asks me if I would like a key for Skull and Bones, the Ultimate Edition with like the year season pass and everything. This is the $100, key on a
I'll pass.
PS5. And I was like, well, it looks kind of cool. I'm playing a lot of things right now. Are you sure? She was like, yeah, I really want you to have one. Okay. So I downloaded the thing.
Oh,
I think I played it twice. And the second time was only because my son thought the sharks looked cool and wanted to see the sharks again.
yeah.
It was just so boring and
Yikes.
uninspired. And like, what the
Right.
hell am I even doing right now? Where's the game? I'm walking around. There's some people are talking, but where's the game?
And then you hop in a boat and you go and you gather, like you do RPG gathering quests in your boat. It's like,
I'd rather play
gee,
Sea of
oh.
Thieves.
It was this grand vision that just had an awful connection with its players.
Right.
It's not just that.
Truly.
You know what else it is? It's when you see like a good movie or a movie that appears to be really great and you get to the third act and you're like, you didn't know what to write for the ending, did you? You had no idea how to end this. You had this great premise. Game that comes to mind is Fahrenheit, Indigo Prophecy. You got this great premise, this great idea. You had no idea how to end this.
It's funny because nowadays it seems like most
Big
games,
oof.
if they're bad when they come out, they'll just let them be bad for 2 or 3 years and then they'll be good.
Well, look, like No Man's Sky wasn't
Exactly.
It wasn't necessarily a live service game. There were features to it that were, but it had a single player, so they had time to fix it. Now it's a pretty good game. People like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a game that's live
Hopefully-
service and relies on other people
Yeah.
playing it with you.
That was the
Wow.
problem with Fallout 76, and that only came back honestly because the TV show was
Because
so
the
well
show.
made. Yeah,
It's
the
true.
TV show
Yeah.
was so good.
It's true.
Yeah.
That game
They-
was all
they-
but
they
dead.
Well,
spent
it's
a lot
okay
of
because the
time. They
Concord
cleaned up
TV show is going to
76.
come out and then wait, no,
the
they already
game's
fucked
already
that up.
done.
They
Yeah.
That's my thing. I can't believe they didn't wait. Sony was like, kill it. And it's like there's a guy in an office like, what? It
Hit the
just
button.
came out.
Hit
What are
the
you
button.
talking about? Oh my god.
The
The
button.
fucking cable. Yeah.
Rest
That's
in
so
peace,
funny.
Concord. You will not be missed.
You will.
Yeah.
I barely
ra-
knew ye.
I raised my Red Bull to you.
I
I did
I
it.
tipped my visor.
Not much other incredible news besides that. Except for I did just want to mention I didn't know Jack Black was not going to be. He's not voicing Steve. He is Steve from Minecraft.
Like in a,
Fuck.
in a live
He's
action
right.
sense?
live action.
Yeah.
Yeah,
being
live action.
Steve.
Is it like a
He's-
hybrid kind of movie? Like
No-
CG
yeah, like
backgrounds
he's
and
in
sort of,
Minecraft.
fucking
But
CG
it's like-
backgrounds, little CG llamas running
Man.
around with boxy mouths and shit like that, and
Yeah.
the characters are live action. It's so weird.
They-
Like,
Who knows?
it's
Yeah.
nobody
Video
asked for
games.
this.
Nobody asked for this.
Nobody
And it's Jack Black in his most I'm resting from between tours look. Like he's got a big long beard and just looks disheveled and
like
fucked
oh,
up.
like Steve. Oh no,
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah, right, exactly.
right,
you know,
yeah.
like Steve from Minecraft.
Everybody
But
knows Steve's beard.
I'm through
Big
talking
oofs.
about the future. I hate the news of canceled games and shows coming out that we'll never get to play the games associated with them. Buck,
I've got a palate cleanser for you.
will you and RetroGameTreasure.com please take us back in time with this week's Retro Zone?
Let's go back in time.
Oh, you tried to hit the same note in that one over and over again.
I brought a banger this week.
Cool.
What do we got?
I love this is that week. You guys get the episode a week later, and so packing week starts like in a week or so for us here at Retro. But the week before that is the week where stuff is just piling into the warehouse. Like if you look on our TikTok during that week, you'll see just rows and rows of NES waiting to be organized and cleaned and stuff. So I walked through the warehouse today and I did a yoink so that we could check out Konami's Assault Suits Vulcan, aka in the US, Cybernator.
Oh shit! What is this?
Oh, hell
Like
yeah.
the name. I like the name.
What
Here,
is
I will
this?
link
That
for
is
you
a
guys.
rare
got it.
drop.
A wonderful
Rare
no,
drop.
You want to start here. You want to start at that
For the
timestamp
Super Nintendo?
because for the Super Nintendo, and I'm gonna show this intro on
Okay.
our live stream next week or the week after because it was already on my
Oh
mind.
my god,
You
I
remember,
remember
don't you?
this fucking game.
Loved it.
Holy shit, it
You-
was awesome.
You play
Rare
as a
spawn right there.
you play as a mech. It had different weapons you could equip: machine gun, fist to punch, shield to put up.
Damn.
Mm.
Who made this game?
Konami.
You got the sticker? Konami.
Konami.
Really? Do you have a year by any chance? I know it's a lot to ask.
It's
but
usually on these carts.
I think it was
something like
1991 or
97,
something like
something
that, I
around this,
saw.
it looks like.
Oh no, I would think it was earlier than
So
Yeah,
it's
I
like
think it said
a
1991 when I looked it up. Just
92.
Now.
92.
Side-scrolling shooter, almost like Contra, but you're incredibly
robot.
vertical because the mech has these big jumps and then like can do
Oh,
like
man.
big foot turbo boost things.
Which
to
is funny
shoot
too,
upwards.
because in like Europe, the guys in Contra are robots. It's called Probotector because they had this weird thing about dudes with guns. Yeah, look it up.
Whoa.
This is like
but
Metal
anyway.
Slug with mechs.
Yes, this
Cool.
game was
Metal Slug kind of
phenomenal.
has. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just a mech. Yeah, this game was a blast to play. It was one of those games that like it didn't even matter how far you got. It was just fun to fire it up and play the first level and play as the mech with the hover jets that it had. And
It's got. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut
No,
you
you're
off,
good.
but it's got this really kick-ass sliding mechanic as well, which I had
Like a
forgotten about
dash.
until you can where you like when you go forward, your guy kind of like does like a whack, 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 he like waddles forward. But if you press down and crouch, you can press a button. Your guy like turns on these backward jets from the crouch position and like does like a super burst like forward thing. Movement.
pretty good soundtrack too.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm
Yeah.
listening to the music right now, and this kicks ass.
Then you
It's
got excited.
cool,
you play
dude.
this one, Vinny?
I did. It was at a grocery store near my house, which you could rent a game for $1.05 for 3 days. Those
Hell
old
yeah.
grocery stores. video
Holy
stores
shit! What
were
a
like,
weekend deal.
This
I'm
game
telling
looks pretty good.
Yeah, it was. Cybernator was God. I haven't even heard this name since I played it, but man,
You
good
can-
memories.
Do that shimmy move that I was talking about backwards as well, because
Mhm.
there's like parts where you're fighting bosses in like sort of like almost like arenas. And then there's also levels that are like straight up shmups where your guy's got like Gundam Wing style like attachments on his back that give him the
feel like-
capacity to fly.
I feel like there are a lot of like reused Contra Super C assets from this game.
Probably,
but-
Yeah. You know what it looks like to me? It looks like Front Mission. The mech
yes.
looks very Front Mission.
Definitely had those vibes. So the second front mission in Japan was called Gun Hazard, and it literally, if you played it, you find some footage of it and pop it up. You're like, oh, that's Cybernator. That's not Cybernator. That's a different game. They just like straight up like rip this.
Gun
off.
Hazard is a hilarious name. Watch out. This gun has a typical gun hazard. It could
Gun
go off.
hazard.
Vinny, that's talking about you here.
Mm,
Watch out for that gun hazard you got in your office.
Okay.
Thing.
That's
Go,
that's
boys.
Do it again, do it
so
again.
Now I
the
can't
Super-
use the
there it is.
retro zone.
the Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo is an amazing console. It's
Mhm.
one that I don't own, but I've been thinking very strongly about trying to snag one from you. And then when I think about it, I'm like, all right, Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario, and I can think of like 4 games or something that I could really want. But this game, I would love to have in a collection for the SNES.
Absolutely,
It's a
yeah.
dope ass platformer that's deep cut as
One
fuck.
of those great.
That's a
Yep.
good one.
Yeah.
Yep.
What profile? This is a platformer. This is a shooting game. What kind of settings
Yep.
you got to have?
We have
to
an
maybe
action
get
adventure category that also encompasses like platformers and run and gun games as well too. So
sci-fi?
funny you say that though. No, you're talking to the Megabuck. Mecha is also a sub-genre you
That
can
makes sense,
select
yeah.
in your boxes,
Hell
separate
yeah.
from sci-fi.
That's pretty
Yeah.
Hell
cool.
yeah.
That's way if you select Mecha and RTS, you get yourself a front mission.
Yeah, right.
Cybernator is today's retro zone. That's an excellent pick. When you said it, and I was like, I've never heard of this game, and then I
I knew
YouTubed
you
it, and I was
hadn't,
like, oh
yeah.
my fucking god, how about we used to play this game all the time? Oh my
Yes,
god,
I have.
that's so dope.
Yep.
All right, well, hey, listen, thank you for taking us back in time, but we're going to go back into the future so we can talk about extraction shooters and a game that I'm absolutely addicted to,
Mm.
Hunt Showdown,
I'm
1896.
so glad you guys got into it.
I'm
Seriously.
we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll jump right into it.
Follow me. I'll lead us in.
Goodbye.
Okay, we're back, and we're here to talk about extraction shooters. Raph kind of said something that I wanted to say earlier, which is I was like doing research for this and thought to myself, like, dang, we kind of did this out of order. So if you've been watching our show, we've done our sort of like genre studies in an order because we got inspired to talk about Metroidvanias first, I think, and then that led to like Souls likes, which led to rogue likes, whatever. So extraction shooters, I thought the same thing, Raph, where I was like, these battle royales were the beginnings almost of an extraction shooter, these big arena combat games where you sort of like are pitted against PvPvE sometimes, but I guess in battle royale it's usually PvP. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was making the same connections that you made, honestly, but I digress. Extraction shooter, kind of a loose term.
Absolutely.
I say that because if you look up Escape from Tarkov, it doesn't even call itself an extraction shooter. Just everyone else does.
I mean,
It's like
definitely is.
categorized as like
Yeah.
a strategy shooter and like a oh god, what's it called when something's like a simulator, like a really
Like a
accurate
mil sim, like a or
that
immersive sim.
that too, a military
Immersive sim?
an immersive sim game.
Yeah.
But in this instance, you're absolutely correct. This would be a
Mhm.
military sim to the nth degree. So I was doing some contemplating about what are the principles of an extraction shooter. And I really only came up with 3 that I could think of that are sort of the most universal ones. One, they're almost all PvPvE,
Mm-hmm.
and they take place in instanced matches, which is not uncommon for shooters, but I'm just saying that's what I've found from the ones that I've played and ones that I've researched. Usually they involve some form of either permadeath or at least you'll call it an equipment wipe whenever you die. So you'll
Right.
go into the match, and if you don't make it out, you'll lose everything that you have, sometimes even your character, depending on what game you're playing. And then
Yep.
finally, there's mission-based gameplay objectives within the game itself. So it's usually never just about killing everyone. Usually the game is either about going in and grabbing something or going in and killing something and then getting out, or a combination of the two, or escaping within a given time just to get experience points for the character that you have in the escape of Dark and Darker. Did I miss anything, gentlemen?
I
Okay.
think that sounds
The
about
thing
right,
about this
honestly,
genre
yeah.
is you almost have to use that many words just to explain it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
So
Buck makes a really good point. It's not a simple genre. It's an amalgamation of a lot of things that we like, that they figured out this formula that just sort of works, and they've started adapting it to different genres. And Dark and Darker, very successful. Dungeonborn was the Dark and Darker spinoff,
Yep.
when that was like not on Steam and down and all
Right,
that.
yeah.
Tarkov is the one that's popular on Twitch, but the one that you're going to talk about, Mac, it's in particular, it is one of the fastest growing
Yes.
player bases
It's
I
got a
wanted to
ma-
talk
yeah,
about the
after
first
6 years.
the first instance. If you look online of an extraction shooter, the first real, I don't know, not the thing that covers all those boxes that I just checked, is The Division had a not mini game, but like a different mode of gameplay, like a seasonal mode back when the Division, not the Division 2, the Division, it was called Dark Zone, the Dark Zone.
I remember that. Okay.
It involved
Oh, I never played it.
you. It was looting based. So you went in with your items on you, and normally in the Division, if you pick shit up, it would like zip back to your base where you could pick it up later. In this version of the Division, in order to take shit out, so you'd find like an epic shotgun. In order to pull it out, or if you wanted to pull stuff, you had to take stuff to a specific place where in which you had to call a helicopter and then wait for the helicopter to arrive, and then you put all your shit in a box.
I played that
and then the
mode a lot.
helicopter would take it back to your base,
neat.
and that is how you pulled out the currencies that you were collecting, the weapons that you wanted to collect, or whatever. So that was, and in oh my god, I just completely lost. In
the
the
first
Division,
iteration of an extraction shooter, in your opinion.
in my opinion, yes, because like I said, it involves shooting enemies, shooting other players. It got permadeath. You go in with this sort of limited capacity. I digress. The next one I want to talk about is the one that Vinny already mentioned, which is the Escape from Tarkov. Comes out in 2017. I don't even think it's on Steam right now. I think you have
It's
to
not,
buy
no.
its own client separately. And it's
Right.
like $70 or something for the premiere one, and it's like $50 for the regular.
So weird.
It is, I would say, the earliest perfection of the formula, of the extraction formula. You've probably seen it online. If you haven't, if you Google it, it is like the most immersive first-person shooter. There is like no HUD. There's no health bar, no nothing. You don't even know how much ammo you have unless
You
you
have to
press
pull
a
it out,
button that has your guy physically pull his clip out of the gun. And then if your clip has like peek holes in it, you can physically count the bullets in your gun.
Your guns can
Wow.
jam in that game too. I think. you
Yeah, the
mentioned
guns
that
can
the other
jam, and there's a
day.
button to unjam the guns.
See,
There's
that's
insane.
when
like-
you want
Yeah,
to
it's
reload a clip, you have to physically load all of the bullets one at a time into the clip before loading the clip into your gun. There's a whole bunch of things, but it is mission based. You go in, there's mob guys in there, like NPC enemies, and then other players that are in there with you. They have whatever they have on them. You're trying to kill them. If you can take all the shit that they've got on them. It's fuck.
Yeah.
You're very incentivized to do that. And then otherwise, you're trying to go in and just kill mobs to get money so that you can come back out to go to the like basically hub world area, not really, the menu
Yeah,
to
right.
get better guns so you can go in and possibly kill somebody to have a better chance of not fucking dying at least. But that leads us fast forward through a bunch of games. I say a bunch, but really only maybe like a half a dozen that I can think of. Dark and Darker being one that we've talked about before that I absolutely love. We played some earlier today. The new season just started, so all the characters got wiped to level 1, and I fucking love that game. So I started over as a fighter. Raph is starring his rogue again. Dark and Darker, if you haven't played it, is a medieval fantasy extraction game. I not a shooter. But it is first person, but it's the same thing. You go in, you loot chests, whatever, kill goblins, come out. There's other people in there.
Traditional style dungeon crawl feels very
Right.
Elder Scrolls if you've played any of the
Yes.
Elder Scrolls games.
It feels
Yeah.
like the old Elder Scrolls
Kingsfield.
games. It feels like Kingsfield.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
what
a
I was
good
gonna
one
say.
as well. Yeah,
Kingsfield
you
combat
swing
on
under Shadow
purpose.
Tower or some
swing
shit
slowly.
Slowly, Dark Souls style speed
Yeah.
of combat.
But today we are going to be talking about Hunt Showdown 1896 in great depth.
Mhm.
So developed and published by Crytek, released originally in 2019. This game is not
Wow.
necessarily new, but
Not even close.
it did just get its like official release just in August of this year.
Not exactly. It's the 2.0.
There
So
we go.
if you would call it like the first major expansion to Hunt, what happened was it was a engine redesign, a lot of asset redesign, character redesign, UI redesign. It was basically the 2.0 of Hunt. It wasn't the full release that was official years ago, but this is the next generation.
They added the 1896. They
Yeah.
added a new
Yeah.
map. They used to be in the
We
bayou,
going to
and now
Colorado.
we're in the mountains of Colorado. Yeah, this game developed and published by Crytek. It uses the Crysis the same engine that game Crisis does, the
I think it's
same
the
visual
Crytek
engine, which
engine, right?
Yeah,
I don't
Crytek
know if you guys
engine.
remember,
CryEngine.
but back when Crisis, like that game was like your computer had to be
Yeah,
strong.
that was
If
always
your
the
computer
joke,
could
right?
run Crisis, then
Yeah.
that's a top-notch
Strong.
PC. Yeah.
And Hunt Showdown fucking flexes every inch of that strength. This
It looks
game
gorgeous.
is all vibes, visually
yeah.
and auditorially.
Yeah.
I don't remember the
Ugh.
name of the technology that it says. Like when you start the game, it says like this game's powered by cryo audio. The audio specifically. It's
The binaural
Yeah,
3D audio.
binaural, yeah.
yes,
Binaural audio.
it uses some sort of stereo audio input that is just like real good, like
Yeah.
real fucking good.
I feel like I'm immersed in I hear things all around me, and I feel like I can turn around and see things around
So,
me if I hear shit. Yeah.
Buck and Mr. Venacore have been playing this game for years. Mr.
Yeah.
Venacore in particular has prestiged his many times. How many? Do you know off the top of your head?
I'm like, I just last night prestige 12 or 13, I believe, something like that.
So, Mr. Venacore, why don't
so
you
good
just
at
start
this
us
thing.
off with our gush about
Yeah.
this game, about Hunt Showdown 1896
All right.
and how much ass
Get ready.
it whoops.
Brilliant.
So back in the fall 2023, the Megabuck got me into Hunt, and I've been rolling in it ever since. No, to be honest with you, this game was slow on the uptake for me. I actually bought it and then returned it. And then
What?
like I just it wasn't a good time for me. And then like 3 months later, some friends were playing Buck and Short Bus and a couple others were playing, and I was like, all right, I'm seeing people playing this game. I got to give it a fair shot. Really didn't like it at first because it was very steep learning curve, and I know you guys are kind of in that zone right now.
Yes.
But it's a game that you can really get stuck in because you normally think in a game like the main character of the game is your character. The main character in Hunt is the sound and the
Yeah.
guns.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
the
main
guns.
character of
Yeah.
Hunt. I
Yep.
mean, it's all so damn accurate. And, it's funny, just playing the game, I've learned so much about guns and like old guns. And I realized that I have a Winfield Slate, which is basically a Remington Express.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the part about and Buck can back me up on this. The part about Hunt that's so cool is like the clear objective is getting in, getting the bounty, and getting back out. But you can create whatever kind of objective and goal for yourself that you want because with an extraction shooter, like as long as you get out, you're a success and you're probably going to level up and take something with you and get new traits and stuff like that. But we'll have these games where for those who never played, you can go in solo, you can go in duos, and if you go in duos, then that's the maximum is a 2 stack. But if you enable trios and go in as 3, teams can be up to 3 people. Now you can go in as a duo versus trios or solo versus trios, but a 3 stack is the biggest you're ever going to encounter.
And
The
to
maximum,
clarify, just there is a solo mode in this game. If you go and buy it and say, "Hey, I did solo mode and it wasn't anything," when he says the solo, you can go in solo. He's talking about a mode called the Bounty Hunt.
yes,
So there is a thing called the Soul Survivor, which is kind of like
that's
more
battle
like
royale.
it's like a
Yeah,
battle
it's a
royale
battle
hide
royale,
and
yeah.
seek game.
Don't play
Straight
that.
up
That's
battle
not fun.
royale.
Don't
But
play
the
It's
that.
single
Don't
player.
like it as
It's
much, yeah.
it's quick play. That's
The
quick play.
Bounty
Don't play that.
Hunt
That's not fun.
mode that Mr. Venacore is referring to involves basically you get dropped in a map and there will be 1 to 2 bounties, like bounty monsters on
Boss
the
monsters.
map. And they'll be like, there's the butcher and the assassin, and they're like these. There's a big spider and a
There's
crazy ghost
big
and a
gruesome
bunch of
monsters.
scary shit.
Yeah. That's
But
the main mode in Hunt.
and to
is-
when you
is bounty.
kill them, they drop a thing that you get a bunch of points for retrieving if you extract with it. So sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to explain
No,
a
you're
little bit
good.
more
That
of
is,
that. Yeah.
and Buck can jump on this too whenever he wants.
The funniest thing with trying to get new players into this game, and so when Mac and Raph picked it up this past week, it was just like, all right, well, how do you do this stuff? And it's like, no, let's just play. Like, I'll explain like 1 or 2 things to you, but let's just play because there's just too many things to explain, and a lot of it you just have to learn by playing it. Years after us starting and stuff still pops up. It's like, hey, did you know you could do that? It's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Really?
There's
Since
there's
when? Since
10,000
always.
things to learn about Hunt, and you're going to learn one or two things each time you play.
Boy, and
Um,
that is worth digging into because if you're listening to this and you haven't played the game, you think like, like, what do you mean? Like in the tutorial, don't they? And it's like I don't
no,
know because there's
no.
actually like, and I'm not talking about like you can press Q to do no, but like it's more like things like, did you know that if you shoot the lantern that's on top of the chicken coop, that sets all the chickens on fire so they don't make noise when you walk by them? Just like
Yeah.
what?
Did you
Like
did you
this
know that
game
on
fucking whoops ass.
Did you know that on that window of that particular compound, there's a crack in the bottom of the window that you can actually shoot through? There's 4 maps in Hunt. 3 of them were in 1.0. Right now in 2.0, you only have access to one. It's the brand new map. It's Mammon's Gulch. It's the mountains of Colorado. It's this
It's
cursed
awesome.
mountain range.
It
So
pretty
It's
much
good.
whoops
so
ass.
good.
Good
It
map.
is
Yeah,
by
really good
far
map.
the best map they've ever released.
It's
And
so
that's the only
vertical.
map you can play on right now. And that's fine. It doesn't matter. That's all you need right now. So with the engine update, I believe they're actually going back and touching up a lot of the old maps to
That
bring
makes
it up to
sense.
code.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
which is why we're not playing on the new maps. So in
Mm.
Hunt, the boss monsters will spawn in one of like 12 to 15 different compounds, these very unique compounds. And I'll just talk in terms of the newest one, Mammon's Gulch. There's like, since there's a big mountain in the middle and like it slopes down to these outskirts, well, on the outskirts, there's an oil field, there's a rail yard, there is a corn farm.
Mhm.
Help me out here. There's a
Shit you would expect
fishery.
like a lumber yard and
You're
shit, like a
right.
tiny little
Yeah,
town.
exactly. And then
Yeah,
as
yeah.
you get closer to the
Civil War or not
mountains,
Civil War, but Wild West shit.
as you
Right.
get closer to the mountains, now there's a mine, there's a rock quarry, there's a mining concern. And, all these things start to connect via mine shafts in the middle and comes to this plateau, like in the very, very middle. There's this plateau which sits above every other part of the map that you could probably look around and see every other compound from the top of the mountain. The cool part about this is you don't know where the boss monsters are spawning. They're going to spawn in one of any of these compounds. You may load into the game and just happen to get lucky, and right then and there, the very first compound you find, the boss monsters in it. Oh shit, well, what do we do? Well, if you're solo, the strategy might be to kill the boss monster and lure other people in and try to pick them off because it's really hard to defend a whole compound by yourself sometimes. But if you're on a team, get in there, kill the thing, hunker down. Now you can start setting traps and like making the place really dangerous, finding your peak spots to get, snipes. And
The
I'm going to
reason
watch
you
this
need to
direction.
hunker
I'm going to watch
down
that direction.
also is because what happens after you kill that monster that you're searching so hard to get, the way you also look for them is by finding these clues.
Thank you. Thank
When
you.
once you
Everyone on
once
the
you
map,
kill
yeah.
them,
Yeah.
you have to begin like this ritual to banish them. So
And it
basically,
takes
a
time.
timer starts and it says like, "All right, you killed the boss monster, but now you got to wait for like a minute or like it feels like forever."
It's like 2.5 minutes.
Not only
Right,
does it make
yeah.
a ton of noise, every person on the map can enter this thing called dark sight, which is you just press the E key and you hold it and you go
Yeah.
into like Batman detective vision.
Correct.
And that's normally what you use to find the clues that are spread about the game. By
That will
clues, I mean
lead
it's
you to
literally
the
like
boss
it's like
monsters.
a circle on the ground that you walk up to and press F on, and then you collect 3 of them, and it'll
It's
show
like
you where the
corruption.
it'll show you on the map like a treasure map, like the boss is here. By the way, boss. But like Vinny said, sometimes you can just run into him. But yeah, you can use that dark vision to see anyone that has picked up one of those bounties that you get from killing the boss. So, like Benny said, sometimes you might kill the boss, leave the bounty. Because if you pick it up, if anyone goes into their dark vision, you're going to have like streams of lightning shooting from your
Fuck, you have a
position that shoot
lightning
way
bolt
up in the
coming out of
sky.
your head.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how they know where I am.
And so
Yes.
that's that thing that you have to collect because you want to extract with it, but you put yourself at extreme danger by picking it up. And you even put yourself in extreme danger just by starting that summoning ritual, because that's another thing that everyone can see. It's so fun. I was so hesitant to get this game because I thought it would be too much, but
I thought so too. I thought you wouldn't dig it because there's
the
so much
vibes of it carry
atmosphere.
it through so easily.
It does. And then
So
I
yeah.
think where a lot of the fun comes in is the loadouts.
Yes.
You have 4 points, which are basically your gun slots. And guns are either a 3 value, a 2 value, or a 1 value, unless you have a special trait called Quartermaster, and then you can get a 5th point. So basically, you take a large gun for 3 of your points, and then you take a sidearm or a melee
Right.
weapon or
You
what
split
have
these amongst
crossbow.
2 slots, these
Right.
points.
You build a loadout. You can bring 2 guns and you can bring 4 tools and 4 consumables, which are like dynamite. You could throw a jar of bees at a guy, for God's sake, and
Yeah.
There's a giant
all over.
beetle that you can watch the map
Bees.
with.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. There's the weapons. Oh,
Knock
man.
the
Okay,
camera out
so
there.
every time you don't extract, let's say for example, you get party wiped and you die because you fucked up. You tried to kill the monster and then you got jumped while you were fighting him. Some other team came up at the same exact time because they found the same number of clues as you did at the same exact time, or whatever. Your character dies, then you have to recruit a new one. So your options are to either select a free hunter, or you pay what, like, the currency, the space bucks as Buck refers to them. You pay hunt dollars to recruit a new follower. When you recruit a new follower, they'll come with traits. So that's the other thing I wanted to talk about next, because the guns, yes, the guns steal the show. Now that I've been looking up like highlights for this game, YouTube is just feeding me antique gun videos. They're like,
Yeah,
you want to
same
know
for
about
me,
French
same for me.
bolt rifles? And I'm just like, oh fuck. But
I have
the-
so many military shorts
Everything.
now.
Yeah.
Everything you wanted to know about bolt action rifles.
Yeah, from France,
It's 5
from
minutes.
1902. But the perks in this game, your character, like I said, if you get one of these ones that you pay for, they start with 3 random ones, but they make the customizing of the character, like every time you die and you're like, oops, gotta make a new character. It's like the draft. Have you ever done a Magic the Gathering draft?
Yeah.
You're like, fuck the playing, I just want to draft the cards. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Like
this is
every
the
time we
same
finish a
thing.
map, I spend like 20 minutes just kind of like going through. All right, let me pick.
Because there'll be
different- yes,
significant
yes,
cool. It won't just be like you do 1% more damage with pistols. Like, no, it'll be something like
serious advantages.
This
Yeah.
one will make it to where you can fan 6 shooters.
And the hammer on your pistol.
So normally this gun that shoots like pow, pow can now shoot like pop, 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 pop. Same thing with like
giving-
lever action guns.
giving you the ability to revive one of your friends from a distance too, which is like my favorite thing. Just like, oh shit, I don't even have to be in the same room as you. I could just revive you from over here. It's
There's
great.
one that increases the speed at which you can reload a crossbow. There's one
Right.
that increases or that like decreases the volume of your feet as you're walking or as you're crouch walking. Because oh my god, this game, we already said the sound design is incredible, and like it's like what, the music or what, the sound effects? And it's like no, the mix is
ambient
the word that
noise of the
I'm looking for.
world.
The mix is a good way
The
to
mix
Yeah, the
is
mix,
fantastic.
like-
They have got all the sound effects. None of them are over each
It's
other.
legendary.
They're all together. And so you'll be standing in the woods and you'll hear like, all right, there's a zombie over here. I hear a guy crouch
You
walking
know,
over here. I just heard
he's-
someone switch their guns behind me. Like
Right,
really
right.
tiny
Right. Was
things
that
you
you?
can hear.
You know, what's funny is when I was on the fence about playing Hunt and giving it another try, Buck and some other friends were playing it, and I think what sold me actually was when Buck was describing the sound to me and like
Mm.
explaining to me how, dude, I was just in this game of Hunt and it was raining and literally I was creeping through and like the rain that was washing off of the roof and falling on the ground, I could hear it in my left ear properly, and it was just so. I'm like, wow.
It is exactly like
Wait
that.
till they
There's
bring rain back.
we didn't
Honestly.
even mention that. I
Oh,
mean, we
man.
kind of did, but like this game's a horror game also.
Yeah.
It's the mobs are things like a scary witch lady who's like has a beehive for a head basically, and she attacks you with hornets, and there's a crazy guy with monster leeches that roam the battlefield looking to like find you. There's a ton of zombies that charge you out of like you'll be walking by a cornfield and then a zombie will just come out of a cornfield and fucking attack you, and you're like, Jesus Christ. And in this game you cannot just shoot your guns
No, gosh,
because
Yeah, you have a decision to make. How much
Right,
noise are you going to make to
Right.
respond to this threat?
The
'Cause that's
guns-
going to.
some of them in particular are so loud.
Everything is so loud in this
Everything,
game.
like it'll be like,
Everything.
don't
Well,
stop
Raph
running.
is really
You're like
loud.
making so much
I
noise
am
running,
really
like
loud,
shush,
but
and you know
that's
what I
'cause the
mean?
world is
Jesus,
so
Raph, you're so loud. God.
Shooting a gun is basically like fuck. Like if it happens by accident, we all turn to each other and go, what do we do now?
You
Yeah.
walk on a tin roof and you're
Yeah.
banging up like all over the
And the
place.
sound
Everybody
is
around you can hear
appropriate
it.
to the tin roof. Like that was the
Yeah.
biggest thing to me in this game was it's all
Yeah.
that sound. the
I
sound
watched.
design.
Oh my god! Thank you for reminding me because I bucked like okay. So we played a game and we got ambushed by some guys while fighting a boss. Long story short, Buck is wielding a katana and he has this power that if you press a button, you sheath it, and then the next attack you're gonna do is basically a one hit kill. And a party has just wiped us, and we think there's two guys in this cave that Buck is right around the corner from, and he is ducked behind this wooden pillar, and we are assuming, based off everything we understand, that they are 10 feet away from Buck, right there, and he is just waiting, and waiting, and I'm watching him through the death cam, going like, "You gonna get those guys?" And he's just like, "Hold on, wait." And I'm just like, I bet they're not even there anymore. And we can hear the pitter patter of footsteps, but it's just like, is that a zombie walk? But I'm going, oh, it's walking so rhythmically. It's got to be a zombie. Either that or it's just someone literally just pacing back and forth. That would be crazy or whatever. And then Buck waits for what feels like a real life 5 minutes. And then finally, a gun goes off from the fucking corner. And in that exact moment, Buck springs into action faster than I've ever seen him do anything. Runs around the corner. Katana's the guy, fucking kills him and turns around. And there's another guy right there with a shotgun. Blam! Kills Buck. And it was just like,
Hell yeah.
holy
No,
shit.
no.
That was incredible. Oh my God. That was amazing. He didn't
The
even.
moments,
It
the
was
moments
just.
that this game creates.
I
is
thought that
just
guy's gone. There's
so
no fucking. You've
incredible.
been waiting for so fucking long. There's no fucking way that guy is still there. And the genius of Buck, the guy shot a bolt action gun. So he has like a full 2 seconds to
Yeah.
reload that gun that Buck is using to
Not to
charge
mention
him full speed with a
acclimating
katana.
coming out of the sights.
It was
and re-aiming
brilliant. And I was just like, oh my God, that was amazing. This
Yeah.
game is incredible. I can't believe that whole thing just transpired.
I
Then
want to say
another-
this game, honestly, it gives me something that I've been chasing since 2009. So I don't know if you guys ever played the DayZ mod on Armor 2. Did you? Any of you
The
guys?
original,
DayZ
like
now,
the
yes,
original,
okay.
yeah.
Yes. So the OG DayZ,
Wow,
like
DayZ.
Yeah.
this game gives me those feelings again of the tension, like the atmosphere.
Right.
Buck, you mentioned
Yep.
earlier, none of this matters. None of the shit that we've been saying matters. Play the game. Just
Right.
sit down, get some headphones in,
Headphones.
crank that up, and
If
just
there
hop
ever
into the game.
was a game where headphones are
must.
100% required, it's
Right.
insane.
1000%.
The atmosphere.
Just
this
try
game
playing one
gives
with and
off.
one without, and even if you have a nice stereo system, it doesn't matter.
Right.
If you can't hear left from right and triangulate things, you're just gonna get snuck up on and killed.
And the reason why this game reminds me of that, or gives me that same that high that DayZ used to give me, is the gunfights in this game too. The atmosphere, combined with the gunfights, the slow, methodical nature. We had that one near like a logging camp where the three of us were there. It was myself, Buck, and Mac. And Mac went off, to the left, and he was flanking around the building. Buck and I were kind of pinned down in front of this little shed, and then the dude pops his head out. I fire a shot, pokes his head out. I missed. Pokes his out again and get that headshot. And that feeling that I had when I got that headshot, I'm like, it's a hit, headshot, he's down. And then we all just slowly, methodically moved on up. And as we moved up, the other guy comes around the corner, Buck pops him, and just, oh my God, dude, the rush that I got when we did that.
Yeah. Every gun
Yeah.
will kill with a headshot
Yes.
Pretty much.
Now-
in one shot.
Now it will.
Now they
Now,
just
yeah,
and
that's a new
it's
thing, yeah.
it is so satisfying every single fucking time you land
Right.
one. It is like playing an entire game of Vampire Survivals in 1 sec. Vampire
Yes.
Survivors. You know, it's like, oh, the dopamine you
Dopamine.
get from a headshot.
They just instituted bullet drop for the first time in
Yes.
the 1896 update. The graphics engine was totally overhauled. The water is insanely beautiful now.
Yeah.
There's even been improvements to the depth of sound. Like as good as the sound was before, it's even better. And I agree. I have noticed the improvements in the sound and the gunfire sounds as well, like distance, echo. Uh, it, the, the sound will actually bounce off the mountain, guys. So
That's what we
depending
were
on depending on
Yeah,
so
what
I remember
so
confused.
that.
there's this there's this shack facing the mountain. If you're on the side of the shack opposite of the mountain and there's gunfire, it doesn't sound nearly the same that if you're on the mountainside and it bounces off and hits. It's
That's
just
insane.
Well, there was
it's
that one fight,
gnarly.
Mac, that I think you were going to talk about now that we couldn't tell if the gunfire was coming from inside the mountain or behind the mountain,
Right.
Right.
Because it sound seemed to be coming up over the mountain. It was wild.
The one I was gonna talk about is when fucking me and Buck and Venny got into a gunfight in this one area, and Venny is very good at this game. He runs up, he's addressing a team, he gets a kill. Then there's two more guys there. He kills,
Trade with one.
trade with one. So there's one left. Buck goes up these stairs, gets killed, and then Venny's
I
just like,
traded
just
with a guy
Mac,
with a katana, and it was
go
like,
up
Mac,
there.
go
It's
get
a
him.
guy, resin his guy. I fucking run up the stairs with the pump action shotgun. And the guy just picked up his buddy, and I just fucking kill
You
Bill
killed
that
them
shit. Just like
both.
bam, bam,
Real
and I
good.
just two headshots in a row. And I was
Wiped
like,
them
that
out.
was the
Wow.
coolest thing I have
Yeah.
ever done in a first person shooter.
I gotta be honest, Mac. That was a real Giga Chad move right
Yeah,
there.
That was really
When you
fucking,
did that, I was sitting back. Fuck
it was really fucking
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
It was
Get
so
him.
cool.
No, you did good.
Man,
This-
this
you did
game
good.
is great.
This
I was
game
able
is
to
a game.
necro res you. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
game is a game for people who don't like real shooters. Venny and I are at the top of the list of people who do not like, sorry guys, Call of Duty
God.
or Modern
Yeah.
Warfare or any of those
Yeah.
those shooters, blam blam blam, shoot a gun, slide up to a guy, blam blam blam, shoot another guy. We just don't dig them. We all played them back in the day. They had the story modes that we enjoyed, everything else. But now that it's all online and a new one comes out every year, we don't play any of them. We don't enjoy them.
Same.
No.
This
Buck,
game,
Buck
too
and
hard.
I. Yeah. Finish.
No, I was gonna say this game is much more like these guys have described as a team hunting, sneaking horror game.
Yeah.
It's like
It's
playing
true.
Manhunt with your friends or something. Like,
And if you guys know me and Buck, Buck and I are like RPG adventure
Yeah.
guys. Heavy
Mm.
story, heavy character, music. It's all about the immersion. Like we don't care for shooters. I never thought I would be this into a shooter game, which is, the farthest thing from a shooter game at the same time. The cool part about the one of the neatest things about Hunt is the gunplay. I want to talk about this because it's very important. The the accuracy of how they're presenting these guns is nothing short of amazing.
it's
Yeah.
From the sounds to how they load to the way the different perks affect the gun. Is it going to eject the round out? Well, if it's going to eject the round when you do a partial reload, you got to bring the bullet grubber trait so that they grab the round out of the air and like you don't waste the round.
Yeah.
And the real life equivalents are just amazing. I was looking through my family's gun safe. Yes, my family's from Northwest Florida, basically Lower Alabama. We
Yeah.
have gun safes.
He's
Yeah.
a Florida. He's a Florida man.
We're Florida man. Yeah, this is Florida Wild Man. By the way, this will be available in the Blood Bond store. Crytek, I'm looking at you. Hopefully in the year 2025 we're going to get there, but it's really really accurate. When I was looking at some of these guns that were in our gun safe, I was like, holy shit, this is a LaBelle. Holy shit, this is a Caldwell Rival.
Am I a
Holy
gun
shit,
girl now?
this is a Romero. Oh my god, the gun I've had my whole life is a Winfield Slate. I mean, it's
I'm a gun nerd now.
yeah, I'm a gun nerd now. I'm a JRPG adventure loving
When the
hunt
guns
playing
get
gun
this
nerd
old, though,
Yeah.
they're more like they feel more like artifacts. These are not
Yeah.
Call of Duty fucking crazy ass. You know what I mean? There's like,
This
Yeah.
isn't like an FN FAL or whatever, like some sort of like assault rifle. No, you've got like a
They're all very
single
real.
shot shotgun.
They're all
or
very real.
whatever,
They're
you
based
know?
on something that is real.
yeah.
Well, like I said, like the Mosin Nagant, like that's a real rifle. That was the standard issue Russian rifle during World War II. That's like
Yeah,
a real
there's
gun.
French
I was like,
guns,
holy shit, I know what
Russian
this is. Like, when I saw it.
guns, English guns, and American guns in
But
there. I
then don't
believe.
forget about all the items and such too. You've got melee weapons. You've got explosives
Oh,
like
yes,
frag
right.
bombs.
Yeah,
you've got
melee. We
all
already
kinds of
mentioned the
everything.
katana,
Yeah.
but there's a railroad hammer and
Yeah,
a
cavalry
fucking
saber, machete, the
axe
spear,
and-
which is new.
There's
love the
guns with
katana,
bayonets on
honestly.
them as well.
Yeah, the guns we didn't mention. You level up the guns when you bring them into
Yeah.
combat and kill people with them, or you can actually find items that'll just like do this for you. You can level them up to like their like other forms. So like I have a
Unlocked
rifle.
other versions.
Right. I had a rifle that, or not a rifle, but like a handgun that I'm walking around, and then Buck's like, "Oh, there's an oil can over here," and then you walk up to it and press F to interact, and then it says you unlock the next step of this gun, essentially, which is it adds a silencer to it. And I was like, "Oh
Right.
shit, fuck yeah!" So now, whenever my guy dies and I want to buy a gun, I can buy back the regular one, or now I can buy back the silenced one for a little bit more hunt dollars.
We got Centennials. We got Centennials with scopes. We got Shorty Centennials. We
We
got
got
Shorty
just
Centennials
jumbo
with,
fried
with
Centennials.
silencers on them.
Oh
Fried
man, yeah.
shrimps.
I got
So
bayonet
good.
Centennials,
Bullshit.
Centennial
Dynamite,
Rogues,
dynamite
Centennial
bundles,
Dynamite,
wax
Centennial
dynamite.
bayonet,
Got-
Centennial short, Centennial sawed off, Centennial sniper. I think that's about it.
That's a
Well, this
Centennial
game,
jumbo
too,
right there.
Is, correct me if I'm wrong, $30?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Goes on
$29.99.
sale.
It goes on
Yeah.
sale
Goes
all
I
on
the
bought it
sale
for
damn
all
time.
the
16 bucks.
time.
Yeah, I got it for like 16.
But
so.
I will say for $30, worth it.
Oh hell yeah!
Fucking worth it.
100%.
This game could be $50.
Guys, one of my favorite things about this game is that nothing is paywalled. Absolutely nothing. The only thing that you gain by doing paid DLCs and paid content, other than the base game, the only thing you get out of it is cosmetic.
That's good. I
That's
like
it.
that. Yeah.
The entire DLC and in-game store economy is strictly cosmetic.
No pay to win.
No pay to win.
I love that.
Arguably, there are a couple of skins that are pretty better camouflage than others.
Sure.
But that's very few and far between. It's very fair and balanced. Nothing
Yeah,
is
it's-
paywalled. It's all cosmetic.
People mostly just do it so you don't have to play as like Clem Johnson, and it's like just like a ugly looking guy in suspenders, and you're like, oh man, I want to play as the cool
You
guy
can
with
get-
the plague doctor mask.
You can get some. Yeah, and the only thing is the free hunters versus the hunters that you recruit, the legendary hunters. The free hunters only come with one trait. The legendary hunters always come with 3.
Right, but the
You can
free ones come with guns on them that you don't have to buy.
Correct, but
which is nice.
you can get legendary hunters also just by playing the
by
game.
playing
That
the
is
game, yeah.
also not
Right.
paywalled as well. You do your first prestige level, I believe you get a legendary hunter as a result
There you go.
right away.
Good ass game. Hunt
Paint
Showdown 1896. If you have Steam and you have 2 friends that also have Steam and a pretty decent computer and a set of headphones. Yeah. I think you should spend the $29.99 on Hunt Showdown and play it, because I think it really is addictive as hell. The
It's a lot
gameplay
of fun
and
to
the
play in a
in-between gameplay
Yeah,
is very
that's
fucking
true. It's the most fun to
You
play.
can get as
with
autistic
friends.
as you want in between games.
honestly, and I do just, oh my god, that's this is not me and Tish were playing so Cult of the Lamb, and there was a moment where we came to a point where we had to decide something like between these 2 things, and I was just going, oh, what do you think? And she goes, well, just hurry up and pick so we can play. And I went, this is the game.
We are.
This
What do you
this
mean?
isn't the game to you. You're
Picking
not
is
having
the
fun
game.
thinking about which one of these 2 things to pick.
We are
This
currently
game,
playing.
but it's so satisfying.
Selecting
Hunt
is the
Showdown.
game.
Okay, we need to move on. We're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll hit our what else you got and pack up our episode, gentlemen. Cock that shotgun one more time.
You're not done till I say you're done, boy.
Oh,
Yay!
so good.
We'll be right back. All right, hey, we're back, and we are ready to do
Hey.
our what else you got.
Can
The
I
segment
start?
of our show that comes at the end. Yeah, sure. Yeah. What have you got for
I wanna
us
go
this
first.
week?
I wanna go
Yeah,
first
jump
this
in the
time.
arena.
This is when we talk about what's new and exciting and what we've been doing this week
Yes,
in video
yes, that's right.
games and media. So I saw Beetlejuice last night.
Whoa, I
Nice.
didn't even know it was out.
Came
You
out
saw
yesterday.
Beetlejuice,
Yeah.
Beetlejuice before you saw Deadpool.
Shut
and
up!
Wolverine.
Shut up! I know.
Oh, damn.
Stop it.
How
My
was
wife
it,
wanted,
though? How
it was
was
a
it?
great it was a great date night with my wife. I'm gonna go see Wolverine, Deadpool during work next week.
There you go.
It was very predictable. You know exactly what you're coming to see when you see Beetlejuice. You know why you're there.
Yeah.
It was wacky and over the top and a hell of a lot of fun. The first half was very wordy, but it was also funny as hell. Even the build up was funny,
Good.
and the payoff in the second half when like
Oh, that's
shit really
cute.
hits the fan. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, Beetlejuice one like
Beetlejuice,
shit
right.
really hits the fan toward the end.
Cute.
The
Yeah.
payoffs were
Sandworm.
great, and it just I was dying. I was laughing my ass off half the time.
You
It
want
was
to
a
hear my
great
You want to hear my
great
cool
flick.
Michael Keaton fun fact that I learned this week? With all the
Yeah,
Beetlejuice
let's
shit
go.
going around. His first job in show business was a PA and controlling the trolley on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
No way.
Awesome.
Oh, lucky.
That's awesome.
Well, Beetlejuice. I'm glad I was gonna. My
Beetlejuice.
main thing was gonna be, is it funny? Because
It's extremely
Right,
funny.
yeah.
it's pretty funny.
It's
actually,
extremely
so.
funny. Loving Visions of Mana also so far, guys. I've
Oh, you
looked at
got
the
it.
box.
Good.
I've looked at the box like 3 times. The box is amazing. I'm really loving it.
Hell yeah. Nice. Well, hey, listen.
I've not
I'll
played
go.
it. I've only looked at the box like 3 times. I've just been playing Hunt. How could you not get the joke?
I'm
I
sorry,
teed it up.
Oh man. What the f- I just left. Oh man.
So this week I have 2 games to bring for my What Else You Got. Not one, but 2 different golf games that I've been playing.
What? Where did this come from?
So
Tell me one is Curse to Golf.
it is. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's so funny. All right. So listen, first game for the Game Boy, golf. It's just called golf.
Wow.
It's good.
This game whoops
It's really
ass. I've been playing it on my analog pocket. It's super duper simple. I cannot play an entire round in one sitting. It takes a long time to get through the 18 holes. Mostly
Sure.
because this game, it's right up my alley. I love it because much like in real golf, you need to remember how far all of your clubs go. There are no indicators in this game when you get ready to swing that tell you the max length that your club will go.
Oh, that's crazy.
So you have to remember. And there's also nothing when you look in the overhead map to look at the hole. Say it's got a dog leg right, and you know that your driver will go past the dog leg, and so you need to pull it back and lay up. You have to open the map and then basically eyeball it. There on the closest thing to a ruler that I have found is that on the left-hand side there is a series of like lines that are equidistant from one another. So if you know the hole is 500 yards long and then there's 4 of those things, you can do the math and break. Okay, so each one of those things is about 125 yards. And from where I'm thinking, I'm about 2 of those things away. So I need to hit my driver to do the layup. So it's the most golf game I've ever played, in the fact that not only that, but the only other thing that it gives you besides the distance when you're going to hit is the lay of your ball. So it'll tell you when you're in the rough, it'll show you how far in the rough you are. And if you've ever played golf, you know that like if you're in the fucking rough, you cannot hit a driver. There's too much club face. It won't go. If you hit a driver, out of the rough in this game, the max distance is all fucked up. So you have to hit your irons. Same thing hitting out of the sand. You have to hit either your sand or pitching wedge out of it, or it changes. If you putt out of the rough, your power changes. Like there's so much to this game that is so nuanced, and it doesn't tell you any of it. And I'm in love with it.
Of golf.
There's only 2 courses.
Come
There's
to
America
life on
and
the Game
Japan.
Boy Entertainment System.
Meanwhile, on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, I've been playing Curse to Golf on Steam.
Yeah.
2022 release. It's made by the same people that do the Steam World games.
Nice.
I had no
SteamWorld
fucking
Dig is
clue
really
until
good.
I did
That's
some research today.
It's cool as heck.
It is a lot more arcadey of a golf game. It's like it's a golf like. I'm an idiot. A rogue-like golf game.
Golf like a roguelike.
It's a golf-like extraction shooter.
It's a
It's
roguelike golf
extraction
game. So
golfing-like.
you are doing the same. You're trying to get to the end of 18 holes, but each hole is like a crazy funhouse, like maze that zigzags. Sometimes there'll be 2 holes on each hole. Like, so you'll be like, do you want to go up to the top hole? You want to go down to the bottom hole? You get like cards on your run. You can go into like a pro shop after you win a couple holes.
Wow,
You get some
that's
tournament
crazy.
money. You go to the pro shop and you buy some cards that will like, this one turns your ball into a rocket after you hit it. Or this one you can use to stop the ball's momentum entirely, to maybe it just drop straight down at any moment after your swing. You only have 3 clubs: driver, iron, and wedge. So it's not as many, not the complete bag that you have in 1984's golf. I've been liking it, but the holes can take quite some time to finish. There's basically every hole starts you at, it's a par 5, and then you can get these statues that you hit that give you adds to your par so you don't die after, you know what I mean? And cards that it can add to your par. But as opposed to golf, where I'll be like, man, I can't finish an entire course. Sometimes I'll start up a curse to golf and be like, I can't even get through this hole. I'm going to do something else. Like it takes a solid 5 minutes to beat the hole or something. Whereas in golf, like, I don't know, I can beat the hole in 2 minutes. And so that's why I just like, I don't want to sit down and do an entire course, but I don't know. It's a really good golf game. It's a lot more arcadey. I'm a weird sadist who likes doing like games that are like regular jobs. So I like golf. I like going like, oh yeah, that's right. I remember that my 5-iron goes 150 yards when I hit it at max volume. Oh, but I am in the rough, so I'm gonna need to club up. I'm gonna use the 4-iron.
10 episodes, whenever you brought a game, it was the recurring joke. Like Mac just plays games that are just jobs.
Yeah, like sorting and stuff. I like like directing traffic.
Moving traffic, yeah.
Yeah. It's a fucking idiot.
Great.
But yeah, that's my what else you got? I got 2 golf games. Buck, what else have you got for us this week?
Well, if you guys know me and you've been watching our live streams that we've had last couple of weeks, you know, you guys definitely want to check those out. You know how much I love FMV games.
Yeah.
I showed off some crazy Ivan and we learned how to talk with our teeth.
Yeah.
And I showed off some night traps. We get to watch that. I
love
even
that
showed
night
off
trap
in our
video.
last
That's
live
great.
stream. I discovered the lost FMV uncut endings for Twisted Metal 1 that were left on the cutting room floor. We never got.
That was
I can't
wild,
wait to see the
man.
Isn't
rest
that
of the
cool?
ride,
That was
honestly.
wild.
I'm gonna be showing one every week for the next of our live streams. So stay tuned for the next like 10 weeks to have one of those every week mixed in there. But
Awesome.
I'm bringing today a game that I played and beat a couple weeks back that I forgot to share with you guys, and that is a horror FMV game called Back. Steam stalks me, and when a new FMV game comes out, it just like it automatically buys it for me. I think I don't even think I have to hit the purchase button. It just
this
automatically buys it.
looks horrifying.
It's a super fucking scary, very traditional, you know, choose your own adventure FMV game, right? The premise basically is that there's this guy, you're a real estate agent, you go to take pictures to show this house. I don't know why you'd go in the middle of the night, but you did. And then you get locked in the house and you start getting attacked by ghosts. And you have to make a bunch of decisions. And it's based in like some, I believe, Chinese culture and religious
it's
beliefs.
Chinese.
And so there's some things that you do that kind of make sense to that, like, you know, ring a bell or things like that you do to chase a ghost away or something. The coolest thing about it is in this modern day and age is if you make the wrong decision, you get to go back to the beginning of that scene and then make the right decision, which I found myself making the wrong decision on purpose because I wanted to see more of the scenes. That I'm like, oh, I'm pretty sure I don't do that, but I want to see how I get killed.
That's cool.
It was only a couple hours. Well, I think it was like $5. I don't even think it wasn't an expensive
Yeah, it's
game.
$6.99.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
But it was a
wish list
fun
right
little
now.
romp. It was literally like 90 minutes. It was basically like watching a movie. But
I love the dark blue green
man.
like
This
filter.
looks
It
wild.
looks very scary.
somebody called it the Twilight
the
filter.
cinematography is good. Like just like the green adds some like otherworldly disturbingness, and then the blue
it's
makes
cool.
it all look.
You
very
know what that
cold
color
and
motif
dark.
reminded me of a lot was Seventh Guest. Like the original Seventh Guest.
Yeah, they're also very
much
teal. Yeah,
had
that's
that very
true.
color motif. And it
Or
was
cyan.
it had some really tense moments. It had, what was that game that we had talked about before that you brought, Raph? The one where you're running through like this hotel and the caretaker is full FMV. And
Oh
he's
yes,
like,
I was gonna say when you mentioned this, it
peeking-
reminds me of At Dead of Night.
yes,
Yeah.
there are moments in this game where the same thing happens. Like, you know, the ghost is looking for you, and you run down a hall and you turn to the side and you see them real quick, but then you duck into a room. I mean, there's a room where you walk in and there's like a bunch of mannequins and it does a whole freaking weeping angel thing on you, and it's terrifying.
Oh yeah, no,
This
this
looks
looks
really cool.
extremely my
Yeah, it
shit.
does.
Honestly,
It was very scary in the best of ways. Again, it's a foreign game, so the English subtitles are a little janky, but I guess it's sold pretty well, so they've already spent a little bit of money to like update them, have some
Okay.
people make them a
Nice.
little better.
I like that you said it's short. Like we need more bite-sized games, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, for
everything's
sure.
such a slog.
How much did it cost? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was like
$6.99.
$6, $7.
That's
Six-
not
$6.99.
bad at all.
And it was like it was like just over an hour to play it from beginning to end, like maybe an hour and a half at the most, and that
I
was
love
with
that.
experiencing some of the wrong turns on purpose. And it had a great little story to it. It had a cool twist to the story at the end, and just it was really fun. I enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
I love when a new FMV game comes out.
Back on
2024.
Steam.
Pretty
Nice.
cool.
Raph, take us home. What have you got for us this week?
I don't have a huge amount. I got a couple of things though. I'm still doing my playthrough of I think I mentioned last time I started Knights of the Old Republic on the Switch because I picked it up for like $11 or whatever, and I never got to finish that game originally. So I'm like, you know what, let me just play it through on a console, and I love it. It's really, it actually plays really well on the Switch. Really nice frame rate on it, and it looks really nice and good. But honestly, the game that I got this week that I was really excited about it, and it's stupid that I'm excited about it because I own this on like 3 different consoles. I bought Alien Isolation on the Switch.
Cool.
And
Uh-huh.
dude, this game came out in 2014. It looks really good on most. Yeah, I know, right? And it looks good on most of the consoles. But this version of this game, I think, is the best looking one.
I've heard that.
Whoa.
The Switch port for this game is like the gold standard for Switch ports, honestly.
That's crazy.
Um,
That and like Witcher 3, right? Witcher
Right,
3 is
yeah.
also known for being like one of the best ports to a console.
Right, exactly. Yeah, just whatever they did to make this game work well on the Switch. I don't know what kind of black magic they did, but it looks really good, and this game is still just as terrifying as it was the first time that I played it. I'm having a blast playing as Ellen Ripley's daughter, Amanda Ripley, looking for her mom. This takes place in between Alien and Aliens. So it's in that time period where Ripley is floating through space, in hypersleep or whatever. You receive a message that your mother's, the black box for the ship, the Nostromo that your mother was on, has been found, and you go to Sevastopol Station. When you get there, shit has already hit the fan. Like the alien is loose on the station, picking people off one by one, and then it's stalking you from basically almost the beginning of the game through the end of the game, and it is like stalking you the entire time. It's there, like it's constantly there, and you can get killed very early on in this. I love
It's
this
so
game. Yes,
scary.
I
couldn't
love
even
this
finish
game.
it.
It's very near and dear to my heart. It's like the game that I've bought the most on any console, with I think a couple
Wow.
of exceptions.
What?
But
What about Skyrim?
Yeah.
I
Forget
actually
about
don't. I
Skyrim.
only
Have
own
that.
Skyrim on 2 consoles. I have it on the PS3 and I have it on the PS4, and that's it. Yeah, this I have
Weak.
on PC.
No, I'm just
I have
kidding.
it on PS3,
Your
PS4.
Skyrim game is weak.
Yeah.
Yes, I need to own it on more consoles.
Boy, we're going to take you down to the bayou and straighten you out because
Oh,
that
man.
does it for another episode of the Game Treasure Podcast. That's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for watching our show. Do us a huge favor, like and subscribe, please. It helps us out a lot. It's the best way to support us for free. If you're just listening to this, you can head on over to our Instagram at the Game Treasure Podcast to see our beautiful faces and tiny little edited doses. Finally, we would like you to reach out to us via our email at gametreasurepodcast@gmail.com. You can find links to all that stuff at our link tree at linktree/the GTP. Finally, as Buck said, we've started streaming. So on Thursdays around 8:30, usually we start. The past couple of weeks, we've been watching video game intros. So if you want to jump on YouTube, I think this upcoming week will be on YouTube and Twitch. I guess if you don't like YouTube or something, because you're a weirdo. But yeah, come on in and chat with us and watch WrestleMania 2000's intro over and over again. We want to thank Crunkwitch for the use of our theme song, Clash of the Droids. You can find them on Spotify, Apple Music, and anywhere you can find music on the internet. And of course, we would like to thank RetroGameTreasure.com, owned and operated by the Megabuck himself. Retro Game Treasure is a subscription service that sends collectors customized boxes of retro video games every month. Collecting video games can be time-consuming, to say the least. Sometimes you gotta go to the store, then you peruse the store for an hour, and guess what? They don't even have the game that you wanted there. Dang it. Now you got to drive back, and that only took an hour plus the drive time because you're an adult and you don't have anything better to do with your time. Yeah, you can just go away for an hour and a half. Tell your kid, hey, tell your wife you're going to the video game store. She'll love that. That's what, and then you'll say, no, babe, the reason I was there for so long is because I was looking for a copy of Suikoden 2. Or you can go to RetroGameTreasure.com, set up your custom profile, tell them what video game consoles you have, what kind of video games you like. With his wish list feature. You can even just straight up like, hey, can I try to get a copy of Suikoden 4 for the PS2 or whatever that game is for? And you might just get it. Go to www.retrogametreasure.com and start collecting today, because Retro Game Treasure has been obsessed with video games since 1985. Buck, do you have the new subscribers for this week for me?
Yeah, we welcome this week William Bristow, Luis de la Cruz, and Nicholas Positano.
Hey guys, thank you so much for subscribing. It means a lot. My name is Max Stein, and I love the Game Treasure podcast. It's so bad.
It's so